So I came across this Reddit thread. Idaho proposes DNA testing amid trans bathroom ban debate. And it's got pictures of two people here talking about protect trans kids, equality for all. And then someone else has a poster that says it's not about bathrooms as it was never about water fountains. I guess indicating that Black people never wanted to just drink water from white people's fountains or wanting to use their bathrooms or even their bus stations or even their schools or even their restaurants. It was about treating them like human beings, which I guess kind of defeats itself, because if I'm treating you like a human being, why do I have to treat you based on your sex? I'm not sure why we're protecting trans kids, because there are statistics out there that show that trans people actually don't really need any protection as far as people attacking them. Like these stories that we've been hearing, like they're kind of made up. Like a lot of these things are made up for a specific agenda.
There's no law in the United States of America that says you can attack a trans person in the bathroom.
But guess what? They allow it to happen.
I think these people get in trouble when they do that.
No, they don't.
Okay.
So they get
Should they?
on the wrist and they get to walk?
Yes, are you living under a rock?
Saying,
are you living under a rock?
No.
Well, I am. So permit me a moment to peek out from under my rock and look into this claim that trans people are being killed in red state bathrooms and no one's being punished. If this is such an epidemic, then surely the advocates for trans equality will have one of these tragic cases of injustice on their in memoriam page. I mean, these guys are fighting for the legal and political rights of transgender people in America. If anyone's going to have documented these bathroom lynchings, it's gotta be these guys. So, I made a spreadsheet of every one of these transgender killings. I'm definitely on a watch list now. I documented which state the victims are from, whether that state is red or blue, and what the current status of their killer is. Of the 59 listed, 21 trans deaths occurred in red states. 42% of those deaths did not involve foul play, meaning only 12 cases involved homicide. In 9 of those 12 cases, there have been murder or manslaughter charges or convictions brought against the respective attackers. Only 3 cases have not been solved, and each have ongoing investigations at the time of last reporting, meaning that exactly 0 of these cases fit the description given here. Ironically, using this admittedly small sample size, transgender homicides have a 75% clearance rate in red states. That's 14% higher than the national average. So, if anything, these evil, bigoted red states are doing a better job at giving transgender murder victims justice than the rest of the country. So yeah, her claim is complete dog water, and I'm going back under my rock.
So you're saying that trans people are being targeted and being hunted down, and some people are being murdered in the bathroom.
Yes.
The authorities know about it. They have the evidence, and either those people don't go to trial,
Yes, you're acting
or
like
they're
this
just
is
get a
like-
slap on the
Yeah,
wrist.
I don't think 3,000 trans people are murdered every day.
But let's look at what some people are saying about this. And I want us to go ahead and take a look at the article itself and what the article is saying, which is going to blow your guys' mind. But before we get there, let's look at this real quick. Someone says, so DNA readers at the doors that you swipe a finger against and 3 days later it opens, better reserve your spot in line early. Maybe they'll open up a section on booking.com for it. 5 years in prison. What did you do? I peed in the girl's bathroom. When I was in college, women were frequently using the guy's bathroom in my dorm, especially at night when they didn't want to talk to the lobby, or when they didn't want to walk to the lobby or one of the women's floors. And look, I'll be honest here. Like, just seeing these comments, yeah, it completely makes sense. Like, how are you going to check for someone's DNA at the bathroom door? Like, this is utterly insane. This is ridiculous. And then they're talking about when I was in college, women were frequently using the guy's bathroom in my dorm. I'll be honest about this too. Most guys probably won't care that girls are using their bathroom. It's actually the way around that's the problem. It's guys using the girls' bathroom. That's the oddity there. If a girl's using a guy's bathroom, it's like, oh, snap, like she's in here. All right, cool. Yeah, I get it. But if a guy is using a girl's bathroom, now we got like a little peeping Tom, because girls generally aren't peeping Toms. Girls generally aren't trying to slide in the bathroom and put mirrors down on the floor and look up the little cubby that people, they use and try to look up skirts and stuff. Generally, girls aren't doing that to guys. The problem here is guys being perverted to women in the women's bathroom. And there have been instances where, guys will go into these women's bathrooms claiming that, they're transgender and have their wang slanging everywhere. That's a problem. So some of these comments, like, it makes sense. Like, how are you actually going to check these people? And are you just going to run around arresting everyone that does this stuff? Someone else says, do they not have crime or hunger or illiteracy or homelessness in Idaho? How are lawmakers finding the time to worry about who pees in which bathroom? I don't know about all those, but they do have a net outflow of doctors from the state that makes good care hard to find. So I imagine these lawmakers are big fans of that. So basically, like, what are you guys gonna go around arresting like people who are just using bathrooms? Bro, if you have a bathroom dedicated to you based on your sex, use that. That actually is no problem. But saying I can use the other sex's bathroom, and then when there are incidents of you using the other sex's bathroom, and then the other sex is like, they're uncomfortable, it's like, yeah, okay, stop using the bathroom. Like, is that common sense, or am I just being ridiculous? So I actually went to the article and I decided to read it. The article is titled, Idaho officials tell judge they can use DNA testing to enforce trans bathroom laws. Okay, fair. I'm actually doing the work. It says Idaho officials have told a federal judge that they can use DNA testing to enforce strict trans bathroom laws in the state. In Idaho, transgender people are required by law to use public bathrooms and changing facilities of the sex they were assigned at birth. So here's what the bill actually means. It'll take effect from July 1st, 2026, and it will create criminal charges for people who knowingly and willfully enter bathrooms or changing facilities that don't correspond to their sex assigned at birth. Repeat offenders could receive up to 5 years in prison. According to the Idaho Capitol Sun, U.S. District Judge Amanda Brailsford asked officials how they could expect to enforce the bathroom law when many trans people now carry ID that corresponds with their correct gender. Idaho Solicitor General Michael Zarian then told the judge that it shouldn't be too difficult because there is DNA testing. Zarian went on to say that trans people would not necessarily need to consent to the proposed DNA testing, but that he doubted that they would be asked to take a DNA test on the spot. Apparently, this bill makes Idaho less safe for transgender people. I don't know how that's possible. You really think transgender people are getting beat up in bathrooms specifically? Like if I were a dude that hated transgender people, if I were that guy, I wouldn't wait to go into the bathroom with a transgender to beat him up. I wouldn't wait to do that. Why specifically a bathroom? What's so special about a bathroom? Someone illuminate. Like, you would be urinating and then someone would come out from behind you and hit you with a toilet seat? What are we talking about here? What is so crazy about a bathroom? And I don't see people who are sexually female go into the men's bathroom to urinate. You don't see that. It's mostly the guys that they want going into the women's space. And so I think this person asks a plausible question, and I'm assuming this person is putting themselves in a position of being a transgender. And they say, if I go to a restaurant with my family and go wash my hands, considering the laws in effect, do I go into the restroom that is illegal now, which is the men's room? Because she's posing herself as presenting as male when she's actually a woman. So her problem is, if I were born a woman and I go into the man's room and I want to just wash my hands, am I breaking the law? If the law's in effect, yes, you are. But here's the catch. I didn't see it in this article, but it would make sense that your ID would be checked once someone complains or someone sees and is uncomfortable. For example, if this law does come into effect, we have to consider a lot of people are going to get away with it because it's just a bathroom. Most people are not going to care until there's that one incident where someone does care. Do you not want to respect other people's spaces? So if if someone is presenting a woman now, but you can obviously tell that they're men, like he was born a guy, but he's trying to present as a woman and he's not doing it very well. And he goes into the women's bathroom and the girl is completely uncomfortable, like, hey dude, can you please leave? I don't want you in here while I'm in here because I feel uncomfortable because I can tell that you're a guy. I think that would be grounds for saying, hey dude, what's your ID? Like, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this. You're busted. A lot of people say once it's law, you have to follow it, right? So once it's law, you have to follow it, unless you have a problem with it based on your worldview that transgenders actually do exist. This ties into a whole bunch of other things. Like if abortion becomes illegal, like, yeah, we have to enforce it now. Like women are actually going to go to jail for seeking out abortion when it's illegal. So if this comes into effect, they would be at a huge disadvantage because they can't now enter a woman's bathroom just because they claim they're a woman with no verifiable proof. And as far as knowing DNA, like that's easily fixable. Like their ID could be revoked until they get their biological sex on the ID. It's simple. You don't go around testing people. You just say, get the proper ID, get the ID that has your initial sex on it. And this isn't going to be a big deal like people think it's going to be. It's not going to be a big initiative because there really aren't that many trans people. It's no one is even going to notice. They're just going to say, hey, go get your ID changed back to your sex at birth, what you were born as, and it's fixed. And they're going to go do it and it's fixed. And that's going to keep things in line. This really isn't that big of a deal to get your ID changed back. Like people get their ID renewed all the time. So this isn't that serious. It's inconveniencing me, right? Okay, find a weekend to go. Who cares? And so she says, I don't think the state has an answer for how you identify someone's biological sex. Are we just going to look at folks as they enter a restroom and determine whether we think they look enough like a man or a woman? See, so she's extending it now. If you present well enough as a woman, I'm sure the women in the restroom aren't going to feel uncomfortable. They're going to be fine with it. The problem is most men don't present well as women. And so when women do feel uncomfortable, now they're going to say something. And that ties into why this goes against all of it. Because she's trying to stretch the case that, well, you're going to examine everyone's genitalia. No, bro, we're not. But if someone feels uncomfortable and we check your ID and we're like, yeah, dude, you're a dude. Like, go to the dude's bathroom. You're caught. Busted. Like, follow the law, right? So it's interesting that people are freaking out over this on Reddit when they haven't actually read the article and thought about it. Like, when you think about things, it's helpful. So if this helped clarify this article for you in any way capacity, if you got some value from it, drop a like, comment your thoughts below, and share the video. Appreciate you guys. Peace.